Happy Wednesday. My throat is already going weird. That's a great start to this Wednesday. We were too busy chatting off mic. I got a little bit of bubble in my throat there. But either way, it can only go up from here. And I know it's going to be a good day because we're going to be seeing another team eliminated. It's day number 3 of playoffs. Skims looking fresh. You ready for a shorter day than Monday and Tuesday?
I'm ready. I'm good. I'm excited. Look, me and Max, we've been smashing down these cups of teas, keeping our throat all ready to go so the voice is intact. But yeah, won't be free tonight. So yeah, saving grace, I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit here or there. And Max, before I ask you about how you're feeling in playoffs, let's have a quick recap at yesterday and have a look at how our 2 first elimination BO3s played out.
Same point of fight once again. You're looking at trying to take down these supports and junglers, the ones that have that early attack. Jerk with a phenomenal Empress provide, and that really is the icing on the cake. He's had a rough game too, but now he's 4 and 6. Can they deny it from being stolen away? It's been a rough last 2 nights here for Swiper. 48 hours of which Barons and Dragons have been stolen away from him. Would not do the unthinkable. He would steal it away as well. And Swiper really is having a bit of PTSD right now. A war veteran just wishing to hit that smite key on time.
She was my cheerleader full game.
The taunt gets knocked back. Good buster shot as they go all in on that target, and the shutdown goes on to Jovi. They can't afford to lose him.
Akali, you know my Twitter.
Out comes the Assault shield. We're going to try and deny it. Not to be used. Oh, the flash has failed. And the shutdown goes to Fury.
Hold on, here goes Nebula.
Interruptions are out, Fury flashing away to safety. Now comes the self-cast off that shield and sticks. And the beast hitting that Joni's in the blade corner, getting completely denied. Across the wall, the fadeaway kill, the shutdown. He's nuts. Not quick enough though, Max, because he has no TP. The lights go out, and Invictus steals the Baron at the most clutch time you can imagine. LCO playoffs, steal after steal after steal. Might have yeah, look at Joe. Absolutely clean with it. As he now headbutts the wall and easily hits the Empress Divide. Don't tell me he manages to make a skirmish wreck in the home thereafter. They look to go for the kill to Invictus. It works for him.
He chooses not to hit the tier 2 turret in body, stays it towards mid lane, and then doesn't hit the turret. He instead gets a knockback from the wall. And that's going to enable him to get into position to hit that Empress Divide. Yes, they don't kill sticks, but they get Invictus from the back end. Honestly, that might have been the most creative Herald play I've ever seen.
Hey, bro.
Yeah. Are you on the LCO right now?
I am, bro. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. I can see you here. What can I do for you?
Do you know much about Runeterra, by chance?
Nah, not much, but I'll give it a crack.
Oh, do you have Google in front of you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, can you just find out? Can you find out like a character from Runeterra that probably should be played in League? I'm really stuck right now. I've only got Silco and I don't even remember the other answer I gave, which I actually cheesed to get the answer for.
Okay, try Vander.
Okay, yeah. Hey, awesome, bro. Hey,
see you, mate.
I'll see you tonight.
Sometimes the joke writes itself.
No way. Are you serious?
No. No.
Yep. Yeah, I might join you in a sec, Skimmy. There's no way we... Okay. What? Okay. Yep.
Well, it's nice to know you guys rejoined us after maybe a not so hot streak going on for LCO Household Hassle. Unfortunately, that's all the household hassle for this split because we're down to only 1 series a day. Monday, we started off with our upper bracket. It resulted in the lower bracket that we had yesterday where we saw Antic 2-0 Fury and then Kanga also a 2-0 up against Ion. And now our lower bracket, potentially our next team to go could be either Antic or Kanga who will be facing off today. And then tomorrow, it's turning into best of 5s. It'll be Bliss up against Ground Zero for the first PCS slot. And then on Friday, we see another BO5 between the loser of Thursday and the winner of tonight. So, I mean, it's playoffs. There's always big stakes, right? This is where teams don't get second chances so much anymore. That the run isn't really there. But, Max, it is already been quite an upset with what happened yesterday.
I mean, yeah, 2-2-0s, but neither of them were clean. I said this exact same thing yesterday, but it really felt like they could have gone either way, especially the fact that we kind of had these heavy favorites coming in, and even they were able to be incredibly challenged really does show, I guess, the competitiveness that is still left. But coming into today, The one team that I want to talk about is Antic in particular, right? This is their 3rd day in a row of playing best ofs, right? King mentioned that he likes the stage scrims, he likes having all this time, but even then, it's got to be draining.
Yeah, it does have to be, but, you know, if they win tonight, I guess win or loss, right? There's going to be that little bit of a break for them, but before we do move on and talk more about the series and the teams that we'll be seeing playing today, we want to say goodbye to Fury. They were our first playoffs team eliminated, and they put up a massive showing. I really thought that at least a game was going to go in their favor against Antic, because the progress of this team has been monumental, Skimmy. The way that they closed off the regular split, it was enough momentum that the way they were playing was really putting it towards Antic.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought like Fury had sort of come into a league of their own by the end of the season. It felt like that was really the case for a lot of these teams out of that upper bracket conversation, right? They'd certainly found a bit of form when it really did matter, but unfortunately for them, it was up against one of those top 3 dogs, and if you're in that lower bracket, it was always going to be a rough affair, right? Where if you don't find the right draft or the right answer to try and bridge that gap of experience and just sort of macro understanding, that seems to be the biggest difference between a lot of these teams at the higher end of it. So, yeah, obviously the Smolder effect came into fruition as well, but yeah, for me, the standout had to be Hooper, right? I mean, he's had a really, really rough split to start off 2024, but when it could count on him, he went absolutely crazy here on this Kaiser, but wasn't enough to try and 1v9 like a Sonic U game.
No, it wasn't. It was still definitely a great showing. I think the other person that really stood out for me in week 6 and the series yesterday was Chirp, Max. Like, just how consistent he was.
Yeah, he's definitely stepped up. I think he had a big problem earlier on the split against playing against those big mid laners. He tended to fall down in lane, really requiring his team to sort of bail him out. But in yesterday's series, you know, he has shown that step up, right? Even beating Ryoma in terms of CS in some matchups that were pretty hard there towards the mid lane. So once again, a very young roster, and to be able to make it all the way into the playoffs and play against a team like Antic is certainly no mean feat.
Yeah, the fact they're able to go toe-to-toe. Unfortunately, though, they are out, and the second team that joined them yesterday in being eliminated in our LCO playoffs was Ion, a team that I think a lot of us had going at least through the first round of the lower bracket. We weren't so sure how they were going to face up against Team Bliss, but in this lower bracket matchup, we thought that there was going to be that momentum for them. They were going to be able to take the series, but they weren't even able to take a game for themselves. So despite having the double lives, it just wasn't enough for them to really make it a run in here in the playoffs, Max.
Yeah, look, I think Ion is still showing signs of being that rookie team. Whilst they're great at getting leads through their aggressive play, they really do have these consistency issues towards the mid game that tend to plague them, right? We saw in this game in particular, Jovi having a monstrous lead and then really throwing it all away. And then similarly here, yes, you're playing against the Kassadin, but Ion also had moments where they were throwing away team fights in the late game. So I think that this team, with a little bit more time for development to iron out these mid and late game issues, they can really become a scary force.
Yeah, they really could. But it's I don't know, it's just so tough because as much as I want to be like, oh, Ion, they have a lot of progress, when I really look at the Kanga that showed up yesterday, I'm just like, I don't think anyone was expecting it. So on a really good day, I think Ion would have taken it, but yeah, it just wasn't that day yesterday, and I think Kanga just played out of their mind there. But I believe we're going to have a look at this matchup that we're seeing today. So with Antic getting the 2-0, they continue on the lower bracket, as well as Kanga. We see them go up against each other today in a best of 3 elimination, and I believe that we were also very blessed, very kind to have Juves give us his prediction for the series. It's been so long. I've mentioned Juves, I think, twice this week already, and so the fact that we're getting his prediction now on broadcast, he said 2-0 to Antic. Too much experience on that roster. He spelled 2 wrong, but anyway. Their bot lane is best bot lane in the league, Skimmy.
Look, doesn't matter about the spelling. What he's saying is straight facts. Yeah, look, Juves, I mean, there's nothing to really answer in terms of being wrong in that regard, right? I think what's the graphic we brought many weeks ago, right? About like 1,000 games played, nobody else even comes close to them, right? So yeah, definitely is that very much David and Goliath situation. And I'm very curious to sort of see what the approach is from both these teams, right? Be it Antic having the more measured approach. Are they going to stick to very much the meta style? Is it going to be Kanga looking to try and showcase us these crazy 5th pick red side variants again?
Look, we talk about this bot lane, and I actually think Kanga's bot lane, look, I don't know how to compare them exactly because Kanga's bot lane has changed up a little bit, but they played phenomenally, very disciplined yesterday. And for me, on the side of Antic, it was very much that they got their hands on Smolder. Okay, Smolder's being enabled for this patch. We're playing on this patch for all of our playoffs. So I think it's something that you need to start considering if you're going to ban it away, you know, what are you going to give it in place of it? And if you're not going to ban it away, how on earth are you going to answer it, Max? Because we haven't found it in the LCO yet.
You answer it with a ban. Plain and simple, I really think that is the approach that you need to be taking on red side. But in a situation where you are playing against Smolder, what do you actually want to take into him? Now, a couple different approaches that we have seen. Firstly, something like a center, where you're trying to kind of match this scaling, pick a tanky support that can put some pressure on Smolder in that early game and in the team fights as well with a lot of CC, and potentially be able to match him into the late game. We've also seen TF potentially emerge as an answer in it, being able to lock down the Smolder. Even with that flap, if you're able to lock the Smolder into just taking cleanse in lane as opposed to a ghost, that can really hurt the team fight mobility, Skimmy.
It really can, yeah, and obviously you've got a global that can come online, right? So you can sort of out-macro them and just, you know, share the wealth from the rest of your team. Two other options that we sort of came to mind would be the Seraphine and the Ziggs. There's an AP option, right, to really out-harass him, right? If he's looking to try and harass you with his W, you dodge that, you hit him back in retaliation, and Bob's your uncle, right? Same could be said then for a harass Varus. Going for this lethality poke build, right? You can pair that alongside, especially like an Ashe. Going to be very, very annoying. The last three going to be a bit of a standout in isolation, more so because, you know, Samira's Blade well, Yasuo's Wind Wall, and Brom's Shield actually block all of Smolder's projectiles, right? So he can, you know, sneeze on you, he can summon his mum. The mum's not going to be too happy because they're going to be denied of having any fun whatsoever. So whilst Smolder has a relatively low range, different ways to approach it. You either outrange it, out-skirmish it, kind of like what we saw Lemus do with the Draven, or ultimately, yeah, you just try and cheese it by saying all your abilities can never actually land.
Yeah. I do love when I'm reading the graphic, it just says something as simple, dodge his W. You know, like as if it's just that easy. Just dodge it, bro, and you'll be able to shut down Smolder. Just do that. Well, look, there's some answers that we think we're still yet to see what works, if we're going to even see an answer, if we're even going to see it get picked up today. But for now, we're going to head to a break. When we do come back, it's elimination best of 3 between Antic and Kanga. We'll begin.
You feel low,
Severus falls down on the stopwatch. It's carnage! They're all charged at ease, come on! Oh, kaboom! It's do or die!
Antic and Kanga, it's a best of 3. At the end of it, one of them will be going home and their PCS dreams will no longer be possible. But for the other team, whoever it is, it's going to stay alive. And let's look at our rosters. As you guys just informed me in the break, they did recently match up. In fact, the memory failed me, and it was only last week that they went up against each other. So I'm sure they're quite familiar. And this Antic roster is a roster we are very, very familiar with, Skimmy.
We certainly are. As you say, a week to the day is when they last took on each other. So on this patch, fresh memory in terms of what is relevant for those picks and bans, and obviously a whole host of information for both these teams to reply in terms of all that playoff information that they can say. What is our response to shut you down? All these scrims on stage and a chance for them to have those angry gaming moments as well as those conversations behind closed doors to try and show up any of those weaknesses. And they've had a few of those, right? But at the same time, they have at the best of times shown that if it does go late, they will close it out.
Yeah, my eyes are a little bit towards the jungle, and I don't want to make fun of anyone here, but Swipe having a couple of issues with some Baron stills as of late, whereas on the side of Kanga, Invictus, he's just stealing them like he owns them, Max. He's just taking what doesn't belong to him.
Yeah, he's coming to the playoffs and has really just gone Super Saiyan in terms of locking in on these smites. Seems like he doesn't miss one when it comes down to a 50-50 situation. And something else that this team doesn't miss is an opportunity to get creative in their draft. We saw them bust out the Kassadin yesterday, blind picking a Galio mid as well, and just saying, okay, we'll handshake a losing matchup, but favor the team plan. What I love about this squad is that they're all willing to sacrifice for each other. They're very cognizant of who is the player with the lead, how can we enable them and get them into a position where they can carry.
It's good questions all round. I'm just, trying to refresh my memory with how these two teams played, even though it was only a week ago for them. Nothing too crazy being picked up or played, but from your memory, Skimmy, was it a very dominant in either game, or were both games still quite close performances?
Close in a way. So like the first win was won by Antic in 33 minutes, 12k gold lead, so it's pretty decisive in that regard. But then the second game went a little bit longer. Obviously, Stick's got his hands on his coveted Ezreal. We obviously had the craziness of a, there it is, right? The Invictus brand still across the wall. Clutching it out big time there, having a pop-off moment in particular. Played, both games of that brand. And then they ended up getting a 9k gold lead to close it out too. So that was a big upset, right, to close out the season. It sort of carried on that narrative of these lower-end teams starting to really challenge the big dogs and make us have this very competitive LCO split. But yeah, it was Baron into Elder into late-game condition, and Styx getting crazy with it.
I honestly just want to see like a compilation of Why Not and Styx like victory dances or emotes. That's the content that we ultimately really deserve. But other content that we deserve is interviews and hearing from the players. I think Draku is the one that's standing by right now to bring in. Draku, hey, look, I want to know, how's your mood? Because the last time I spoke to you, you weren't in the best of moods, so you feeling a little bit better now?
Yeah, well, I had a good sleep and I just hit like 2 hours of arms just now. Yeah. So yeah, I'm feeling great.
How's the
and
gym
I'm
progress
going? Pretty, so, well, if anyone cares, you guys can follow my gym account. You guys can look at my six-pack. I'm competing this October in men's physique, if anyone cares.
Oh, that's cool.
What else? Yeah, I don't know. I'm still like cracked up on pre-workout right now, so I know Max follows me actually, so.
Yeah, I do follow you.
Yeah.
You're looking absolutely shredded right now.
I didn't even
really.
know
I'm
that you had a gym account or anything, Draku. But there you go. I'll ask you some league questions though. It's third day in a row that you guys are playing here in best of threes in playoffs. Obviously, aside from the pre-workout, is the energy level still there? The atmosphere and the team comm still going really well?
Yeah, honestly, I think like with superstars on our team, we probably shouldn't be even losing a single game. But I think losing in regular season is actually pretty chill. Like, everyone on the team just kind of wants to win. So I don't even see it as losses, to be honest. I just see it as lessons. And yeah, I think we're just actually getting like better as we play. So.
That's awesome to hear. And in the bot lane, is it this style that you've really enjoyed playing with King, or do you guys have a little bit of a different way that you like to play and you kind of go back and forth on that, or how exactly is the dynamic?
Well, for King, I think he's like extremely good. I've been blessed with a lot of good ADCs in my career, but I think King actually likes to, you know, farm a bit more, but for me, I kind of like being a bit, I guess, unleashed, and I just like looking for every single angle, and I'll probably die to the enemy jungler. So, you know, King's kind of like he's kind of just like, I'm kind of like his Pokemon, and he's just like, nah, don't attack right now. Like, every time, like pretty much.
He's the trainer, just holding you back, telling you when you can use your attack move. I love that. I love that. Steven, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, mate, look, I'm really excited to see you boys back in action again today. Obviously, all these stage scrims, if you will. Obviously, you're already juiced up from the gym, ready to go. So does that mean we're going to see some more explosive champions? Are we absolutely crushing in lane, playing things like Alistair, Sion, just getting rowdy?
Well, as I said in my interview last week, I'm only playing a Nautilus 50 games in a row. So yeah, I'm playing Nautilus 50 games in a row.
No, but Dragku, at what point do we say you've had your Blitzcrank license revoked? At what point do we say the Nautilus license is also revoked?
Never, because my Nautilus is, Nautilus, like, if you screw up on that champion, then like, I don't know, you should just uninstall. Like, the champion's just way too easy. So, like you can't really make any mistakes on it, in my opinion. Yeah.
Easy as that.
Every engage is a good engage. Max, I apologize, we don't have time. We're gonna let Drake go because we're gonna squeeze in another interview as well. I'm so sorry. Hey, look, Max, you just go tell Draco. He just has to win, then we can get him back.
I'll DM him on his gym account. It's all right. Don't worry.
All right. You'll DM on his gym account. But Drake, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck today.
Good luck.
He didn't say kebab.
Maybe we cut him off early enough. Maybe I was talking too long. He couldn't slot it in there. Yeah, I'm sorry, Max, that we didn't get time for you to jump in there. We're too busy talking about gym with him. How is his progress going? He didn't actually explicitly tell me.
Nah, he's looking cracked right now.
Yeah.
I haven't been following like religiously, but I've definitely been seeing like some post-pump pics, and he's looking pretty good.
Hopefully it's enough energy then for him to be able to bring it in the bot lane. I do like the fact that he's saying he just kind of has to listen to whatever his king call is, because that's why I asked. I was very curious based on the other ADCs he's had and played with for himself in the past, and I just wanted to see like how on the same page they were, but maybe that's part of the comms, the discipline they've been working on over this split. Let's talk on to a Kanga player. Let's bring him in. It's gonna be Kurak. Kurak, how are you guys feeling coming in day number 2 for you in the lower bracket?
Honestly, I think like we've prepared pretty well for today. We have set up like most of our drafts. We have like 15 drafts that we can just go over, rinse and repeat. It should be pretty straightforward today, I guess, and hopefully to the dub.
Yeah, look, you guys genuinely pulled out one of the most shocking drafts I've seen in quite some time yesterday. What were the expectations with that? And then off the back of it, what are the expectations coming into today about drafts and wins?
Honestly, I do think we can cook up a lot of different and weird stuff that could potentially work. And tonight just might be another one of those nights. We can catch Antic off guard since they are one of those team fighting teams, and yeah, hopefully we can do something with it.
Yeah, and last question before I let the boys jump in is, how has it been pairing with Styx? You know, you had that little bit of a late season change, and I want to know how that progress has been and how it's felt for you personally.
The change with Styx was actually like a lot smoother than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like very hard, because it was, I think, week 5 when we did make that change, so it was pretty late onto the season. But yeah, only took a few stream sets, and honestly, like, got to know each other well, had good synergy, and somehow still gapping every ball in the league.
I love it. That's so good to hear. Max, I'll let you jump in here then.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, speaking of bot lane pairings, Senna Ornn is something you guys have pulled out. I wanted to get your opinion on this pick in terms of its overall power strength. Obviously, it doesn't feel as good in terms of the scaling as the top lane. Is this more of a kind of draft flexibility thing, or do you actually see some merit in the pick by itself?
Honestly, well, the game we did pull it out, obviously it did not go as we wanted it to go. It was a bit stuffed. We do think it is a very good pick. Like, it can be flexed top lane as well, so we can pull it out today, you know. But yeah, we do think it's pretty strong, and honestly, I'm happy to keep playing on. Probably farm next time, you know, so I can get a big gold, but yeah, should be good.
Perfect.
And we do have time, Skim, if you want to...
We have time? Beautiful. Yep. Mate, obviously so impressed by some of the, you know, very exciting champions you've pulled out, like the Ornn, like Max mentions, as well as that Zillion. Are we looking to try and cook even more? Like, what is the way to try and bridge the gap between your team and Antic?
Yeah, so today we did come into the idea where we have to do something. We wouldn't have to, but we should do something to catch Antic off guard, because they are one of the most straightforward teams we have versed. They just look to 5v5, run it down mid lane, team fight, and hope for the best. So I can cook something up with early game, I've been practicing a lot of Camille support, Belvet support, Zach support. I can pull it out, but will I pull it out? I don't know. We'll see tonight.
Wow.
Hey, you've made Skimmy excited, and I don't want to hold him up any longer, so Kurak, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for a great interview, and good luck today.
Thank you.
See ya.
Camille support. Okay, Max is
I was
like, I'm
gonna
a
say,
support mate now.
The digging is finally paid
Hey,
off.
we got an
a good
answer.
fleshed
He
out
didn't
answer.
care. He did not care who's watching. He's like, now you know.
Well, that's the strategy, is you name drop 6 champions,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, well, what do we actually do with this information?
Yeah.
That's it, because now you kind of have to have this thing in your head. It's like, okay, how much of it is a flex pick? How much of it is, we're now wasting bans on something that might not happen? Or it's good. That's the mind games, the mental part of it. Let's have a look, though. Last time that they matched up, this time a week ago, this is what was picked, just in case you didn't hear it in the interview there, or the questions, or in the replays. It was that center on that garnered Kanga a loss, but then they were able to get the win for themselves when they were able to get the brand in jungle. And on the side of Antic, they went back twice for the Cassante, so showing Max that Kanga know how to deal with what everyone feels like is in the top pick right now.
Yeah, and I think Correct put it really well in the fact that Antic is a very straightforward team. It shows in their drafting, right? Both of these games, you can see it's the exact same style coming out. It's okay, how can we enable, through our top jungle support, Ryoma and King to get on board? Unfortunately, in game 2, where it went bad for them, is a game where King really wasn't able to get active on this Kalista. And I think coming into tonight, in terms of both also targeting the jungle pool for Invictus here, hoping to get him on a carry pick, they're also going to be looking to shut down King.
Yeah, I'm looking at that, and my brain's kind of working overtime, already knowing what the side selects are. So when we get there, maybe we can talk more about what we think are going to be trade-offs for picks or bans, because right now, when we look at the stats of these two teams across the season, the regular season, as well as their playoffs debut, there's a pretty big gap. Okay, you already mentioned it, Skimmy, that you don't know how they're going to bridge it, but do you have any ideas after talking about teams now that we look at the stats and the differences between them?
Well, a big thing for me now is probably the thing we just literally saw before in their previous series, carry jungler for Invictus versus the more supportive facilitator coming out of Swiper. Right? He's stuck to his guns, has been looking to try and engage, whereas he has certainly been outpaced at the best of times. Right, we've seen it against Invictus. We saw it in their series up against Grand Zero when Shone went for the Talia as well. If you're clearing fast, you're able to engage, you're able to become a little bit stronger, you're able to start those fights up first before Antic get to reach that point where that has been their bread and butter. So that's a bit of a concern of mine, right? If Invictus does get his hands on a champion that can fall clear, can become a bit of a carry, they may fall behind or may have challenges once more.
Yeah, well, we know that Antic, they are the highest seed coming into this one. That means that they pick up blue side for themselves, and it does mean Kanga is on that red side counter pick. I feel like that actually plays into the strengths of both teams. Kanga really looked good on their counter picks yesterday, and Antic obviously having first pick when they were blue side, something that they were able to get their hands on to smolder both games for themselves. And if you guys want to talk to some more people about it, or if you want to get in on our Discord fan vote, then !Discord in chat. You guys can go ahead and join that Discord and get amongst all the fun that's happening over there. But if you prefer to just stay here on Twitch, and maybe you like to be a little bit of a chatter, then you can go in the top right. Chatting! Top right hand side, just above Max over there, and you can use your channel points to have your say. Is it going to be Kanga for game number 1? Is it going to be Antic for game number 1? I'm going to see as close as possible. I think the closest we've had all split is 51, 49, 50 to 48.
I think that was our Grand Zero Antic series.
Yes, I think so. So they were very, very close. Let's see if we're able to even potentially get a 50-50 split here today. Okay, I didn't even know this. We've all gone Antic, and Max, you and I have once again paired up for a 2-0, and Skimmy has gone, for a 2-1, and Skimmy has gone for the 2-0. Let's get him.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm just going to go based on what happened last night. You both went for the 2-1. I went for the 2-0, and we saw what happened. I'm just thinking that Antic are coming to this one and say those mistakes from a regular season will not be repeated. We've had all these harsh conversations. It's one of those make-or-break situations, right, where you either grow stronger or you hate each other even more. So I think given that they've had all these games day after day after day, there's not enough time to try and, hold grudges, because you've got to turn it around in 24 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty confident in Kanga based off of their showing yesterday. Obviously not enough to predict them, but I really do think that there is a solid chance that we see Kanga coming out here swinging, and we are going to be seeing just that because game number 1, Champ Select is ready.
Thank you very much then, Nat. Let's jump into it then, Max. Let's see what happens in our very first game. There's the brand ban, which honestly, I'm not too surprised to see. Shame to be said of the respect towards Ezreal as well, so Styx doesn't get his hands on that one. And the smaller ban, we saw that Kanga very willing to drop the ego, play for the red side, guarantee they've got that 5th side red pick, and say, you're not allowed to get your hands on this though.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a really smart pick. King has looked basically invulnerable on this champion, has just been such a damage threat, as well as almost always being able to kite out the team fights and really come into the late game completely swinging. Antic, though, are going to take an interesting approach with their 2 bans here. They're really targeting Invictus. He mentioned in his interview that Devi is just a champion at this stage where you almost have to pick it in every draft. It's too good not to pick. And with that and Brand off the table, really does hit his 2 favorites there. Obviously, still a lot left to be seen from him. We know he has a very diverse champion pool, but one pick that is not so diverse is going to be the Varus there for King. Answered back, though, by the center.
So he has been answered back by the Senate. Now they're considering what they want to actually pair it alongside, or even do they want to show what their bot lane looks like. Now they're going to taunt us with some of those supportive options that Kurek would say would be off meta, but would definitely be a little bit spicy. But they may just default to the old faithful, go for that Senna and Tonkench.
I bet you're just so enthralled right now after he came into the interview and said Camille, Belveth, Zac support, and then we're playing with the Senna Tom. But nonetheless, a very supportive, safe pairing for the Senna to allow her to scale. We haven't really come to a consensus as to which champion actually wants to farm when you are playing this lane. I think it does depend a little bit on the support matchup as to whether you feel like Tonkench may get bullied a little bit too much going for those creeps. But as for now, it will be the Ryoma Azir being picked up. Now, this champion hasn't been invincible. It's been shown that he is mortal on this pick, but even still, a very scary prospect. And going back to Comfort, it will be the Rel picked up as well. Now, this has been a matchup with the Tarm in the support lane as well. Draco, obviously very proficient on the champion himself, so there is a little bit of flexibility there. And Ryu Fury, he's going to lock in this Talia. He looked so good on this pick in their previous series. Really able to get a lot of stuff done on the map.
Yes, and he is. It's enough to really try and start a bit of a trend now in the league with everybody else picking up and showing respect to it, the amount of global pressure you can provide, but also just that ease of execution with the seismic shove we saw time and time again on TP'd wards, or even just the ability to catch out members as they contest those major objectives. As you say already, that Rel's still very much a flexible pick, although would fare quite nicely into the Tonkench, but Kanga not going to be believing that bluff and still going to be banning away supports of their own, so they deny the Ashe as well as the Karma.
Well, I think Ashe Varus is just something you never want to give over regardless of your bot lane. It's just way too powerful in terms of both push as well as your ability to start fights, which is something that a lot of these double AD carry bot lanes lack. I mean, yes, you have the priority, but how do you actually pull the trigger and commence a fight? Varus Ashe having no problems doing that whatsoever. Now, Antic's bans here are interesting, right? It's going to be the Tristana Akshan taken away, so perhaps believing that this may not be a Talia locked in the mid lane. We saw Talia find success against Antic in the past, previously in the hands of Schönfire, who really was able to accelerate the pace of the game here. And now, with this 4th pick, it's going to be the Yone. It's going to be aggressive. I believe Ryu Fury is wanting to say that, okay, Ryoma, you had me in the last series, but I've got you now.
Certainly looks to be the case, doesn't it? Yet to play it in that mid lane. Yet to see it by Woodon in the top lane either, if that were to still be held as a 5th pick counter. Either way, it's going to be an exciting way for them to try and up the ante, become a lot more aggressive, and show what they're all about. Let's see what the response is from Antic. And Zorna says, oh, is it top lane? Just so much fun. Yep, locking the Cassante. And let's see how they want to bring it all together now. Is it a Rel support? Is it a Rel jungle? It's time for Draku to reveal as he goes for the Maokai, and you're still left guessing.
The coach of Antic genuinely must have the easiest job in existence. I'm pretty sure they've picked the exact same draft in like the last 15 of their games in a very close kind of replication of this same playstyle here, but it's one that works for them, and it is the engage coming out of that jungle support role. Like you said, we don't actually have it confirmed yet. I would assume that it's probably most likely going to be a Rel support just for that matchup and then move the Maokai into the jungle, but obviously that does remain to be seen. Now, Kanga, what do they want to do here? They have the flexibility, like you said, of still moving that Yone up into the top lane, But Woodon, he found this matchup yesterday, found a lot of success in it, and he's going to run back the Riven.
He loves it, doesn't he? His go-to champion time and time again, and ever since he debuted it into another Riven main and showed that, hey, it works on the stage, he is running it back time and time again. Level 5 all-in with that Flash Ignite combo. You've seen it work in his favor. But will it work into somebody as experienced as Zoranus? That is the question, because really, as you heard from the interview of Kurak, right, we respect that the style of Antic is to team fight very effectively. But if we can get ahead in these laning phases, then we can look to brawl them just as well too.
Yeah, and I really respect the confidence coming out here from Fury. I think the mid lane is really going to be the point of emphasis here because, you know, typically he has struggled individually. He hasn't been the strongest laning mid by this split by any means. And this is certainly a matchup where if you do begin to fall behind, if there's some jungle and support pressure put against you, you really can start to struggle. So he's got the Talia there to help him in those 2v2s. Very nice against the Maokai if she's able to keep her distance. But once again, Antic, they've got Engage, and they have it in abundance.
They certainly do have plenty of Engage, and it really is a case, right? If you're saying that you are going through a bit of a difficult period, then much like you mentioned, just run it back with the comp time and time again, get it all down under pat, and make sure that things are working in your favor. As you mentioned, it is going to be that Rel going to the supportive position. Last time we saw, it was Rel in the jungle, and Maokai played by Dragku. And they said they lacked a little bit of conviction to find those moments to strike the iron and go for gold. Let's see if they've patched that one up here, because they've been coming in 3 days in a row now, Max, of playoff performances. And after Kanga showcased their 2-0, they're looking to both say, we deserve to be progressing through to a best of 5 and an opportunity to make it to PCS.
Everything on the line here. Are they tired or are they simply warmed up? That is the question for Antic. Kanga, meanwhile, having that series yesterday, but still by far the younger ones, by far the ones probably feeling more pressure here. As we take a look at the rune setups here for Kanga. I always love that Woodon, no matter what matchup he's in, always goes for that Ignite, really values the lane kingdom that can create. We saw yesterday in that Kasante same matchup, he was able to get a really nice trade shove, the enemy top laner off the wave, and even if he wasn't able to get the solo kill, he was up about 40 CS as a result. So certainly looking to be a lane bully. And that sentiment is kind of echoed by Kurak here on this Tahm Kench. It's going to be the Comet he's picked up for. This is something Dragku actually kind of popularized with this semi-poke variant of the Tahm. It'll be interesting to see how that fares against Antic, who we know are very willing to scrap in the bot lane.
They certainly are. We'll have to wait and see, though, how many opportunities are found in that bot lane, whether or not Kurak wants to go in for some aggressive dives to try and really utilize the ability to start with this double door in setup, as opposed to this more supportive style. We tend to see this very much from a Varus Ashe bot lane, but a clear indication that we want to get the ball rolling and we want to scale a little bit quicker than you. Obviously, Varus on this occasion is going to be going on hit. That's what we saw King play in their last series up against Ground Zero. And in that 54-minute thriller, was the most fed member in that game by a very fair margin. If not for that pesky Talia. Once again, Styx, though, is going to feel the wrath of Dragku hunting to gain control of this lane. They're not even level 2 yet, and he wants to make matters worse.
That's a beautiful trade there from Dragku, though. The important thing is they get Styx's flash out. King instantly pops the Ghost, so he has to force that instant respect flash out, or else Styx would have taken a really bad trade. And now this opens up a window for Swiper to make his way down towards the bot lane. Yes, he's pathing top now, but certainly when his bot camps are respawning, there is always a window. And Dragku, he might just create one himself here. Very active here on this row.
Yeah, looking to basically use that Hex Flash on cooldown, rain so much control from that bush, and be that immovable object, if you will, of saying you will not be able to land any poke in response. Likewise for Fury, any given chance for him to try and dash on top of Ryoma and make sure that he can't truly utilize that ranged advantage. He's not going to go amiss. So running the fleet footwork is Ryoma on this occasion, so a little bit of sustain to try and endure that pressure. Is Woodon already unleashed from the top lane, roaming like an Udyr, and has completely interrupted the clear of Swiper to get that blue buff.
Nice Bramble Smash there to dodge the damage coming out from Woodon there, but ultimately he still manages to delay Swiper, and that's the important thing. You can see Invictus is just finishing his red buff right now. After completing that, will walk into the enemy jungle and look to deny this blue buff. Doesn't have Smite, which Swiper does still have available, but he has solo lane priority now. Swiper should have a feeling that this is coming. He knows that his solo lanes are both pushed in, but Invictus is going to find him.
Invictus certainly has found him on vision. He stands, so denied once, denied twice, and now looking to try and potentially get taken down for a first blood too, but very lucky There's Swiper there. Invictus not wanting to burn a flash, not wanting to overcommit. He knows that his job is already done. A kill is basically achieved in the fact that he's denied so much, and he's already so far ahead on this, carry-style jungle. That was the concern, Max Rose in draft, and it's already paying off for them.
Huge early game leaders. Wudon's flashing in. Oh,
that's unfortunate. He's gone and bit the bullet at level 4 there. Double, flash ignite burnt. And as for Zoranis, he literally gets to hit the ghost and walk away. But the pebbles deny him, so the recall won't happen. This wave will be crashing. They're looking for the dive.
Big wave. And there's no ghost here on Zoranis. How do they make this play?
How do they make this play? It starts off with him going unstoppable, but it's just a little bit too little, too late, as Wooden will trade his life in the process. Invictus will profit, because he'll be the one to pick up that extra goal from the first blood. But 1-for-1 so far. Top lane, volatile.
I really don't think you're too mad about that as Kanga. Not only do you get more gold because you're getting the assist coming through, but also there's a fair bit of CS that is lost in Zoranis' behalf. You can see Wudon as well. We'll be able to get back to lane with his wave in quite a nice spot. So although the initial solo kill doesn't come as a result of those double summoners used, it will still pay off in the end here. So Wudon once again on this ribbon. It's a really hard matchup against the Cassante. You have to be incredibly aggressive early, but he's shown that he's absolutely willing to do that. And it's paying off for Kanga.
So he is paying off for them. Good start for them. That's exactly what you're after, especially when you tap to the bot lane and say, hang on a minute, things aren't looking too rosy down there. The Varus and Rail lane are certainly having their way with things, denying a lot of that tenacity and thick skin that Kira could be hoping to try and utilize. And no doubt going to be very much reliant then on really the top half of their draft, because if you look at Refury, he's also garnered a pretty stable affair here. Back to base he goes, tier 2 boots on lock, and is going to continue to be very aggressive.
Yeah, he's doing well for himself. I think this is really the roughest part of the laning phase for the Cassantes. Hold on. I said Cassante, I meant Yone. I was distracted by that little camera pan there. But really, once that level 6 ticks online for him in that mid lane, he will have a significant kill threat onto Ryoma, and that really can be a way that you can leverage this game. Add that volatility that Kurak was talking about, right? That was a common thread coming in. We know what is going to come out of Antic, but they don't know what we're going to bring out ourselves. And so far, what they've brought out are 2 aggressive solo lanes, and Zoran is looking to answer back.
He certainly is looking to answer back. He goes all out and he meets him with so much aggression. Nice combat summon as I got a TP, but I'm playing Cassante. Where's your jungler now? As we know, he's taking Void Grubs mid lane also as the soul becomes unbound, but Slingshot's right back after that Empress Divide. And Invictus, having picked up all 3 grubs, hovers mid.
That's a really bad death in the top lane there. Zoran is making a fantastic outplay, catching Wudon off guard there with the all-out. And every single death makes Cassante not only so much harder to kill, but so much more threatening in that lane as well. You can see Sheen now picked up, building his way towards that Iceborne Gauntlet. And you ask any Cassante player, they know that yes, they're playing a tank, but once that comes online, the solo kill threat is even more pronounced. So look, top lane is still in a decent spot, especially with the lead that Invictus has still managed to pick up as a result of Wudon's play. But it comes down to Invictus. What's he going to be able to do to get that lead back for his top laner?
And that's what I'm curious about, right? Because we've certainly seen Wudon at the best of times when he's been playing this Riven, look to try and stick in that lane. And there's been opportunities where you're thinking, surely group up, you don't have that TP. A 5v4 is going to go against you, and especially into a team like Antic that will be always hunting for any given opportunity to force a skirmish. You're thinking, well, if he's split pushing, he really needs to make sure that those towers are falling down as a result if a trade does go against them. But to fall behind after gaining first blood to allow Zoranis to rush towards that Iceborne Gauntlet as quickly as he can and to really utilize that Sheen proc. Now a lot of weight goes towards Invictus, really making sure that he's ahead here of Swiper, because these lane states continue to be incredibly volatile. He's got his work cut out for him.
No. Yeah, but he's doing a really good job of putting the pressure on Swiper here. You can see level 7 to level 5 is the difference as the red buff is being looked at. Now keep in mind, Invictus has that empowered smites, 900 damage coming through, as opposed to just the 600 that Swipers will offer. So seeding the red buff, Swiper acknowledges that he can't contest that. And the 30 CS lead is brewing in the jungle here. Invictus on these carry picks, playing for himself, really seems to know how to eke out every advantage and put himself in the best possible spot to have a performance like he did last time against Antic.
So it was the concern, and right now it is working very nicely for them. Healthy advantage, as you mentioned, and certainly is going to allow him to be a menace once these fights break out, because here's an invitation right now. A flash away out of that Magnet Storm, the Nature's Grass is there. And locked inside the shadows is Styx, but as soon as Invictus rocks up, they say we're not keen on that anymore. And the Abyssal Dive goes in, the Seismic Shove hits absolutely nothing, and a flashy, igniting Kurak takes him down from the afterlife.
Optimistic W there from Kurak, but it will get them the kill on the back end thanks to that ignite. Antic start off the play with a really nice engage. They say, okay, we don't want to go on a Styx here. We know he'll just get devoured. Because I might have to hold my train of thought here. There is Invictus down here with the Weaver's Wall. But we'll just base as Styx collect this wave. So all things said and done, just a 1-for-1 on the bot side of the map. Kill does go over to King though, which he would certainly favor over the time Kench picking up that gold.
Really would. Nice interrupt there on the recall as Zonis is hanging out in this pixel bush that is double watered on either end. And with Dracula in the area, nice little reset from himself. He's going to plant some vision there, guarantee that the life becomes a little bit easier for his top laner, waiting for the respawn of that second rotation of grubs, and potentially an invitation to contest that red buff too. As you've seen already, Invictus really has had his way with this entire map. I hold my thought for a second as Refio gets aggressive there, popping his own ultimate and actually forcing out Roma to flash.
Yeah, Flash will be burnt there, but the chunk is still pretty significant onto Ryu Fury here, and with the Void Grub spawning soon, you wonder how Kanga are going to choose to respond. You can see they've recalled Wood on. As the setup's taking place, we can see the initial engager happens towards the bot lane. Kurak having to respect Flash out here. But Kanga, they think they can turn this play around. Draku's stuck in the middle of no man's land with no summoners on this rel. A very nice target. Kurak will go down as the cost, and so does the flash have to be expended by Styx. But ultimately, they will trade. Now, with the bot lane of Antic being the first ones here, the first responders to these grubs, they should be able to equalize these 3 apiece. But all this time on the top side of the map, buys time for Woodon to hopefully eke his way back into the game.
Yeah, he certainly loves to do that and has managed to find himself a pretty healthy advantage, which is going to be equalized to a degree once Zoranus catches this wave having TP'd down. They invested so many resources and really so many members, forcing that lane flip to guarantee that not all 6 of those grubs would go the way of Kanga, so 3 apiece now. And no real concern at these big skirmishes, these PvE moments are going to rule them some free towers and even more map control as a result. Antic obviously wanting to play their way and really preventing Kanga from finding an easier way out, a solution of their own choosing. As Zoranus gets jumped upon, the Weaver's Wall does deny him from dashing across that wall. He's got the all-out mode, sidestepping that Abyssal Dive, then using Kurak as his escape plan, and then dashing out right afterwards. It's beautiful. 4 members are here. Styx is on the hunt. Dawning Shadow sidestepped. And my man's got the fancy feet.
Kurak, what are you doing there? He was absolutely dead, but the time Kench uses that Abyssal Dive puts him in harm's way, as Ryu Fury also in a similar spot.
He certainly is. These side lanes right now, the absolute focus. King's gonna dive to the tower! That is not what you want. Draku didn't have the aggro, and it becomes a messy 1-for-1.
Yeah, Ryu Fury very lucky to trade there, but ultimately still will be the 1-for-1, and that buys time for Invictus to pick up the Mountain Dragon as a result. So, I mean, yeah, that play on Zoranus didn't go as intended. Unfortunately, weren't able to lock him down on the Weaver's Wall. And you can already see just how pesky this Cassante is to take down. 500 gold is the lead, 12 minutes in. But with Ravenous Hydra completed, this kind of marks the start of this Riven split push phase here for Woodon. We talk about him time and time again as a player who really does love coming to these side lanes. Now, with this item completed, he's not only going to be able to trade more aggressively, but he's going to be able to push even faster.
And he is. It's a good time to be at Riven right now because it's a pretty rough matchup if you look at the team he's got to go into, right? The amount of CC to lock this champion down. He needs to become a bit of a menace so he can get in, get out, complete the heist, as we say. And say, job well done. It's on the rest of my team now to finish the pieces. As items of those pieces are starting to come on through. You mentioned the Ravenous Hydra there for Woodon. Invictus has now just picked up the Ludens himself, so he's going to be an absolute titan in the jungle. He's actually got the most farm in the game for his team.
Yeah, very fed here is Invictus. Incredibly strong with the Luden's Companion picked up. But he's on the bot side of the map right now, and Antic pulling off a very similar play to the one that they just made onto Ryu Fury. They really want to crack this tier 1 turret. It would be the first of the game, so certainly a strong gold bounty to come with that. And on the bot lane, Kanga, they're looking at Zoranus. It's a very tanky Cassante, but he doesn't have the most in the way of magic resist. If they are able to get Invictus hitting onto him, he could potentially fall down. So the ward will be spotting out that Invictus is in the area. what the Kanga want to do. So far, it just looks like a little bit of poke and a little bit of turret plates.
Yeah, he's just basically trading his HP at the cost of denying them from finding a tower in retaliation. So first tower gold going in favor of Antic, making the flip once again in their favor. Topside really is the name of the game, as you saw right there. And I mean, it's a good point, because there was no TP from Ryoma available for him to be assisted if that dive would have occurred. And no doubt would have been all in then on using his ultimate to try and find an escape plan out of that dire situation. But utilizing that aggression topside and rewarding themselves not only with that tower, but also a solo here by Ryoma to pick up the first Herald.
What a nice guy. You love mid laners like this. Going to go and start up the Herald there. Swiper will join him soon enough. But ultimately, it looks like there's no contest going to be had here. It really has felt like a tale of two map halves. Antic establishing themselves firmly on the top side, whereas Kanga are all about that bot lane control. That being said, the turret is still standing in that bot lane. Haven't been able to crack that one just yet. And with this Herald going over, you would assume Antic are looking to continue to accelerate this turret divide here now. Interesting lane assignments. They've put Fury in the bottom lane. They want to have him with that TP kind of on the opposite side as to where all the action is happening. You assume that's going to be taking place around Woodon, who despite being 0 and 2 on this Riven, is still a level 11 Riven with that ultimate and double summoners available. So a very explosive champion if allowed to take part in any skirmishes. But for the time being, doesn't feel safe hitting that top lane turret, so we'll just clear out some vision. Where Antic, they're looking to do the same on bot line, and there's a lot of people coming for Fury.
And he's just burnt that soul. He's got a flash available. He's already down at 50%. As Dominus tanks up that tower for the rest of his team. Incredibly tanky for all that armor, and it just does not matter. Ryoma comes across, takes all that damage, picks up an assist, and the 4-man dive works beautifully.
Well, I was looking good for Fury there for a little bit, but he flashes, thinks he gets away. But there's always more Antic, so they'll pick up that kill there onto the Yone, summon the Herald, and break the tier 1 turret. Meanwhile, Zonus has just TP'd in here.
Certainly has, but Kurek's going to fall down for that cost of finding themselves a trade of a tower in retaliation. It's King to pick up the gold, who's now got a Blade of the Rune King online, so incredibly strong, and Invictus is a little bit too late to answer back, but certainly does deny them off that great play. Double flash in the mid lane, Nature's Gas to lock them down, and the War Train, that is Antic, is, well, we just move between lanes and we find kill after kill. Fury with a questionable TP, but it does go through, and the Weaver's Wall to try and split this fight apart, looking for the shove on towards King, who doesn't have flash. What he does, but he doesn't decide to use it. Zoran is tanking up all that damage, and they can't answer back. The Fed Talia dies without finding anything in the response, and Antic now, they're getting a gold lead.
They absolutely are. Kanga are looking for a form of retaliation, but it just results in death after death. You can see off the initial play, Styx gets flashed on in the mid lane. Kanga think, okay, they've expended enough resources, we can go forward here. Let's take a look once again. You can see the kill onto Styx is a pretty easy affair, right? You just trade those flashes. And then this TP in here, I thought it was a bit optimistic from Fury, but Invictus still wants to pull the trigger. They section off the two tanky members, but crucially, Fury's Q does not land onto King. They're not able to lock him down and take away this Varus, and that means he can absolutely unleash the damage. So what started as a simple flash trade and a kill going over to Antic really spiraled out of control.
It really did, Max. It really did, and honestly, incredible composure more than anything there from King to hold his flash and not feel the necessity, not feel it to be necessary that he needs to get out of harm's way. So Nat, Zonis, you cop that one for me. You've got no magic resistance, but no real worries. Just took it, said I'll be the tank, and we'll go from there instead. That certainly could work in their favor because they've picked up the second dragon and working their way towards that all-important 20-minute mark where 2 items really will be the name of the game here. Whoever can sort of hit that breakpoint first, no doubt we'll be looking to try and contest that one. And yes, we've had our fair share of conversations around Swiper not being protected. You even heard it from King last night, right, saying we're not really giving DOS too much protection to allow these smite steals to occur. So let's see, given just how strong Invictus is, if a 20-minute 50-50, burger flip, if you will, were to occur.
The problem is, though, is it's a very hard game for Talia to really find the targets that she wants to. You can see on her side of the thing, she doesn't really have too much easy CC to come through. You have a center W, you have a bit of Yone CC as well, but nothing that's super reliable, like a Nautilus or a Maokai that would be really nice to play with. And so Antic, on the other hand, they can kind of rest assured that as long as they're keeping bodies like the Cassante and like the Maokai in front of their carries, they will be able to DPS. And Skimmy, you mentioned it, 2 items, really the threat point now online for both of Antic's carries here. Ryoma with the Lich Bane and a Rage Blade on the cards for King here. And no surprise, they're alone on top of the gold graph.
Yeah, so it's a good time then to check in with that overall gold. And as you said, and as you see, mirrored basically. 8,300 gold for both those star players. The real point of focus of their team, right? A bunch ready to try and empower them with engage and supportive tendencies, and a 4,000 goal behind is Invictus, the most fed member of Kanga right now, their star jungler. So let's see, with all the conditions you rose before, if he can find an avenue in which to operate and try and close this 3k deficit they find themselves in.
Yeah, hold on for a second here. Draku onto Styx.
Looking for it. Oh, just at a range of that Chain of Corruptions. His speed was ever so quick, but in comes Zonus from the right-hand flank. And Fury unleashes his soul, looking to try and find a kill of his own inside that jungle, but Ryoma too threatening for him to instantly retreat back to safety. And yeah, Kanga just simply bullied out of their own quadrant of the map, and it gives so much space for Kanga to, or rather Antic, to push up these waves, plant some vision, and then set up for that Baron spawn.
Speaking of space, Fury closing it onto Ryoma.
Yeah, double ultimate in that top lane, but Draco jumps across the wall and makes it ever so easy for them to pick him off. So it will now be a 4v5. It is Yone. Has not found the success he'll be hoping for, but can Invictus answer back? Can he close the deficit? Ryoma, how's your life? What a flash! Oh, the Dawning Shadow will for sure have taken him down. Now they turn their attention onto the support in Draco, but the Sun Disc is summoned and the play is over.
Ryoma says, counter pick be damned there. This is not falling down no matter how much you throw at him there. Invictus, despite finding a nice combo, as Styx once again on mid lane looking to get aggressive here. King is isolated, but he respects the play and will walk off. Now, side lanes, which really should be your strong point with these 2 counter picks that you have picked up, are really not looking like they're going their way. You could see Fury just in the 1v1, outplayed by Ryoma. And now a very dire situation, Antic. They're bringing members up, sweeping the vision around this Baron because they know that they can take it oh so quickly. Styx isolated on mid lane, no time can to protect him, just has the seed control. And now they're walking into the top side.
They certainly are. All the vision line is getting very much advanced here as flashes go out to try and find another pick. The Weaver's Water safety not going to be found. Invictus locked in place, stunned with a taunt to make sure that that Devour will not find its success. Styx, a lonely center, caught in the wrong side of the jungle. And it's just an absolute massacre. The star members of Antic getting all the glory.
Antic make it look so simple. They push the mid wave, they walk into the enemy jungle, and they find the kill. Swiper, for all his woes that he's been experiencing in the playoffs, finding engages is definitely not one of them. They pick off Invictus, take out the smite, take Styx and Kurak while they're at a 2, and they'll secure the Baron.
But they certainly will, up by 6,000 gold now, and we'll run it back with the replay to see how it all starts. It's just Antic being relentless in their pursuit of hunting down kills.
I mean, Swiper, when he has that flash available, you do know that he is going to not hesitate to be throwing that one out. Really smart play from Antic as well to save the Chains of Corruption until that Devour comes through. Able to lock down both Kurak and Invictus, who is in that Time Kenchar. And that means that there is no escape to come through. So now 6,000 the gold lead. Dragon spawning in 5 seconds, which you just imagine goes over to Antic by default. They're looking to be in a prime position to take game 1.
Well, they certainly are, Max. 9-1 is the combined scoreline of their mid and bot laner, and they really do hold the lion's share of that gold, as we saw just moments prior. Now hunting for that soul point, and already objective bounties coming into effect here for Kanga to try and contest. But they don't have the ability to TP from Woodon, and it wouldn't be too easy for them to protect him, given that they have seen time and time again these 4-man dives and these abilities to really punish members hunting those side lane controls. And with this Baron online, you're thinking, well, surely now, how much do Kanga feel is necessary to concede?
They have to fight right away. I mean, look at their comp. They have absolutely no wave clear, and I think with Woodon's positioning, they're going to look for something, but Chains of Corruption find Kurak.
Yeah, he's going to flank around the corner, only find himself a Sun Disc as they turn their attention towards Ryoma. The Dawning Shadow goes out and tries to turn him. Flash, stun, but they can't get King. He's ticking down. Did he ignite? And it is, in fact, Woodon that finds that kill. They're going to find a second as they look to try and remove as many of these Baron buffs as possible. That's free. Hunting for a fourth. Ryoma is gone, and it's an ace, and a perfect one.
They've got to find the ace, and that they absolutely do from Kanga. The collapse from the solo lanes is finally enough to get on the carries of Antic. And what was such a promising position, Baron in hand, that'll all be stripped from them. As a fantastic fight goes in the favor of Kanga. It's exactly what they needed. They had to stop the push. Let's take a look again here. You can see Swiper's very aggressive here, but he has no flash, getting a little bit zoned out here. Meanwhile, Wudon and Ryu Fury are hunting. Yes, Kurak, he does get collapsed upon, but look at Ryoma. He's getting found by Ryu Fury, who this time is outplaying him in the 1v1. And then Wudon, he finds the access onto King. Even with the flash, like you mentioned, the Ignite, still enough to take him down. And then the back end, Ryu Fury's got the flash to pick off his counterpart. So, I mean, Skimmy, I hate to say this about Antic games, but it really does feel like this late game, they're team fighting, something's just going wrong.
Well, it certainly does feel that way because with the Baron and then what was a 7,000 gold lead in their favor, you're thinking surely you've got all the cards right now. You look at their carries and it was a 1-4 Yone. It was a very much behind Riven, but they got given a flanking opportunity, and whilst they're still not going to be ahead, they've completely shored up that difference. Now only trailing behind by 2,000 golds, and 3 minutes now completely synced up between the Soul Point and the second coming of that Baron. And Kanga no doubt going to have a little bit extra belief, thinking if we can wipe them with Baron and such a big gold lead, maybe we can do even more. Fury going to try and take out Ryoma, but he's got the fancy feet, he's got the mobility, and he's going to deny them finding that hunting kill as they look to try and then turn their attention onto Draku instead. But with Swiper dropping the ultimate, it zones away the 4-man squad of Kanga. A little bit late to the party are Antic, but showing their numbers was enough to try and zone them away. And recalling in this bush is to be Wudon, who does get spotted out here. The blast cone going to take him a little bit of a distance as he's able to regroup with the rest of his squad.
Very dicey for Kanga there. It's a non-committal play trying to find Ryoma with Ryu Fury and Invictus. But the second that Fate Sealed goes a little bit wide, you do imagine that they are calling the play off there. The thing, I guess, that really saved them was the fact that Zoranus had no TP, right? He wasn't able to get behind them and create some chaos. But speaking of getting behind and creating chaos here, Kanga, look at it collapse upon Zoranus.
Going to try and find him. He's all on that armor train right now. Once again, using Wudon as an escape plan out, going all out, dodging another set of CC. And being incredibly hard to lock down. I mean, Cassante just... what a champion. Yes, you might be bored as a top laner, but it's ever so effective.
Yeah, you really never die in this pick. Is hold on, Kurak onto Ryoma.
He is hunting for the kill. Fancy feet though. Dawning Shadow goes golden, waiting for time for King to then turn it around and say, I'm incredibly strong as this Varus. That thick skin will amount to nothing. Call an ambulance, but not for me, because we've taken your tower, we're taking your lanes, and we're taking back that gold lead.
The Seeker's arm guard value there is huge there. Negating the Dawning Shadow coming out from Styx means he will stay alive. And King, once that Chain of Corruptions land, he is so ridiculously fed in terms of the DPS he's able to dish out. So even someone like Kurak will melt in front of a Varus. Now, importantly, there are no objectives live for the time being, so the kill will just result in a little top lane push. But with 1 minute to go here, you can see this respawn is really going to be the important one. The question is, what are we prioritizing as Kanga? Do we care enough about the Cloud Soul to potentially be giving over a Baron? Because we know, Skimmy, what an Azir and Varus can do to Baron if left alone for even the tiniest amount of time at 27 minutes.
Yeah, it really has been the flavor of the month right now with multiple double AD carry comps to try and get it done. Fantastic. Shurima shuffled the safeties. That Weaver's Wall would have locked him in place. Wudon with no flash. Doesn't have the surprise element to lock him down with that stun combo. And we'll have to reveal his positioning as Antic reposition. To look at that Soul Point, as you say, 10 seconds away. Now they themselves are hunting for a pick onto Wudon, who has that flash up in 10 seconds, but it's 10 seconds too late. The Soul Point, it's going to be a 5v4.
Yeah, the Soul is just going to go over here. Now the question is, do they turn to the Baron afterwards? Ryu Fury is still in the area, but with no Weaver's Wall available, Invictus might not have as much power in the fight as he would like. You can see the pings are coming out now. It looks like with all this movement speed, they're going to head towards it. Now, Skimmy, we know Baron steals are the flavor of a Kanga vs Antic series. I'm sure that they will be looking to keep Invictus out of the pit. But can he do the unthinkable yet again?
That is the overarching theme of this one. Can he do it again, or can Rifu get himself out of this one? Where on earth is he going? He will eventually fall on down. It's a shutdown fan by King, who's now 8-2. But who's zoning Invictus? Would he even look at trying to steal this one? But it's too late now. The Baron is acquired. The movement speed is there. Antic too quick.
And that's one way to deny Baron steal. Kill it before Invictus can even get in range to smite. So this time Antic, they take the necessary precautions to ensure the Baron play. They find the solo laners of Kanga out of position, one after the other. And with the Yone and Riven down, so much of that backline threat is completely removed. We'll just allow them to take the Baron now. Wudon, he thinks he's setting a trap here, but he hasn't swept this. Antic's coming to collapse.
They certainly are collapsing from all 4 directions. He thinks I've got the jump on you, but in fact you've died at the exact same point you died prior. 45 seconds now to reflect upon your actions and realize that for a second major objective, this time being the Baron Siege, your team is at a numbers mismatch.
It's so long, and with the waves and with the ability that they have to push, especially with this Sun Disc, I do imagine that it will be an inhibitor going over. Now, Invictus will try to clear this wave, but look at their comp scheme. They've got 2 melee solo lanes and a center. There is by no means a lot of wave clear to come through with this comp. And that means with the extended death timer up here, this could even be a triple inhib. The wave's prepped in top lane as well.
Yeah, look at this wave setup. It's absolutely beautiful. They can just make a full sweep from bot to top and take everything in their wake. A triple inhibitor is going to be picked up here as Wudon will spawn and realize that the base has been decimated around him. And Antic surely are thinking, do we go for one more fight because we can end the game right off that? So that's exactly what they're going to do. The next shot to start things off as Rifu jumps in with a reckless abandon as he slingshots back. He dies and falls victim to a bit of a wombo combo. King with a double, hunting for more as they lock them inside the fountain and say, GG, there's the ace. It's a pentakill for King to set the tone for this elimination game.
We asked, had Antic learned from their previous matchup against Kanga, and here in game 1, it absolutely seems like they has. The mid and AD, they're always fed. That's always true. King there with a pentakill, but this time it's the Baron setup. They make sure there's no steals to be had, and they take game 1 of this series.
You can bat away to Smolder. You can deny him of a champion famed for picking up quadras and pentas on repeat. He'll just play the Varus instead. He won't go lethality. He'll go for all that on-hit damage and hit it where it hurts when it really does matter. A dicey mode at this part of the game, but overall, it's all Antic as they go into this next one on match point.